everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel for another edition of Out Today and What I Missed. We have another 20 albums that I'll be covering this week, 10 that are out today, 10 that I missed along the way, and 880 albums in total since the beginning of 2025. Since we got so much to get into, let's just get into it. First up, we have All Hell with Sunsetter. The fifth album from this North Carolina band is my first foray into the band, but what this band is accomplishing is something that instantly caught my attention, mixing black metal, thrash metal, and a punk attitude to make it all a very fun listen. It's a dark album covering many eerie and sinister topics, but when you make music this enjoyable, it makes the oncoming reckoning feel so worth it. The production is a bit raw, and it feels fresh and human at the same time. When you can find a band that can mix bands like Sadistic Force, Grave Ripper, Goat Whore, and Midnight, you instantly have my attention. If you need an album like this, especially as we go into the fall season, you should check out All Hell. Now we have Blindfolded and Led to the Woods, with The Hardest Thing About Being God is That No One Believes Me. This Australian band has come a long way from the Aaron Simpson show, and please look up that video where they're on that show. It is the stuff of legend. Look it up on YouTube. The fifth album from this band is by far the best material the band has ever done, and they keep pushing the envelope with every single album cycle release. This time around, the death metal side keeps on getting more crushing, and there's just the right amount of tech death where it is strongly there, but there's so much more substance than just being fretboard Olympics, and the experimental side of things are done in a way that's not just there for the sake of wackiness, but it serves a greater purpose, but used sparingly. The production is polished, but still feels raw, which is a really cool thing to see. The songwriting, again, is by far their best element, and this is their finest example to date. While some are shallow enough to dismiss this band just because they have a long name and a very long album title this time around, if you like the more extreme ends of death metal that still has some nuance to it, you are doing yourself a disservice by missing out on this one any further. It's a fantastic release from a band that only knows how to get better. Simply check it out and understand why. And again, check out that YouTube video of them on the Aaron Simpson show. It's so good. Here we have the band Dead Heats with Process of Elimination. Crossover thrash is my favorite subgenre of thrash, and bands like Dead Heat remind me why I love it so much. There's so much fire and intensity behind this one, while still showing the occasional moments of melody and harmony that make the music more than sheer aggression. This is how you make the music work with dynamics, as the heavy sections sound so much heavier, and the melodic moments, while fewer in comparison, give you a welcome change that you may not find in other bands of this style. The album feels like it was recorded in 1987, and I mean that as a big compliment. For anyone who needs a band in the likes of Power Trip, Enforced, Inhuman Nature, and just enough of early day suicidal tendencies, Dead Heat will be your new obsession. Now we have Frayle with Heretics and Lullabies. I never would have expected a band like this on Napalm Records in 2025, but it makes me so happy to see it. The third album from this Ohio band is a striking balance of gothic, doom, atmospheric, post, and a little bit of mainstream sound. I really feel like this is a band that could be on mainstream radio, but it would also depress every single person who dares to listen to it, so it would be a win-win. The vocal delivery will not be for everyone, but if it let it take over you, it couldn't fit the music better. It's so strange to hear a doom band with so much pop sensibility, but I'm all here for it, and I want more. The production fits perfectly with a style that just works, and the songwriting is grand and diverse, which is not always something that you find in doom. Overall, this is a band that will either be exactly what you're looking for, or something you'll steer clear of. I am of the former, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. But please, if you're checking this out, never lose that doom side. Now we have Sanguisugabogg with Hideous Aftermath. The death metal band whose name is hard to say, but captures the heart of every death metal fan who listens to them, is back with their third album, and it's easily their best yet. Focusing even further into the death metal side, and the more brutal death metal side, but with those unexpected moments of those left of center moments, well, at least for the genre anyway, is a cool thing to see. It's nice to see a band that isn't just brutal for the sake of being brutal, and there's so much more substance here than ever before. The production is easily their best, and for better or worse, depending on your taste, that snare ping is still mixed in there, but it's way lower than for the most part, but still present when they get into breakdowns. Personally, I think it's better when it's mixed down and not a distraction. The songs feel like a band that is maturing and playing to their strengths, and if you want a band in this style of death metal and you've never heard them before, think of bands like 200 Stab Wounds, Frozen Soul, Undeath, and others, and you start to get an idea of what this band is all about. This is a band that continues to rise further and further into the death metal scene. Check them out and see if they're for you. Next up, we have Serpent God with Denial. The debut album from this Finnish band is the thing that Death Doom nightmares are dreamed of, and I swear I mean that in a good way. This hits the darkest, deepest side of Death Doom and gets into that blend of the Peaceful 3, while maintaining its own identity by adding some more blackened and melodeath moments throughout. It can also get near Funeral Doom territory, which always makes me a happy guy. The production even has this real 90s feel behind it, but it's updated just enough to hit you really hard in the speakers. I swear this one sounds really good. The songwriting will rip your soul apart and leave you begging for more. Since as of writing this, we are deep into doom metal season, having an album that can hit My Dying Bride, Veil of Conspiracy, Paradise Lost, and even hints of early day Catatonia is something that will always grab my attention, and all I want is more. I can't wait to see where this band goes from here, especially considering this is just a debut album, and if this album is any indication, it will only get more depressing and filled with grief from here on out. Next up is a band name that I know I'm going to get wrong, and I deeply apologize for doing so. Terzij de Horde with Our Breath Is Not Ours Alone. I love it when a band can push boundaries of what music genres can be, but also do it in a way that feels like they're creating something new. That's what this third album from this Dutch band has accomplished, mixing the volatile aspects of hardcore and the darkness of black metal to create a type of post-black that feels like it can channel Kralis, Altar of Plagues, and Integrity all at the same time. It's also an album that makes you think and gives you some introspection. You don't always get that from these styles, but I'm happy to see it here. That's 7 tracks and 40 minutes plus. This is a full-on assault of the senses, but it also gives you just enough breathing room before you get pummeled again. If you want to hear how to properly meld hardcore and black metal together, you need this band right now. Now we have Testament with Perra Bellum. The almighty Testament has returned with their 14th album, and it may be their most ferocious album since The Gathering, but still having enough melody and harmony to make it much more than that. While there's so much elements of melody and harmony and more commercial sounding elements, they are devastated by the number of heavy moments that obliterate everything in its path. Even Eric Peterson is back doing some black metal vocals on this one, which is a cool thing to see. Chuck Bailey, of course, is one of my favorite vocalists of all time, and he's sounding like the metal god that he's always been with his cleaner and growled approaches. This is also the first album with new drummer Chris Dovas behind the kit, and he lays waste to everything in front of him with such impeccable double bass and occasional blasts that heighten the music's intensity. It's not all heavy, as there is the ballad, for example, Meant to Be, which is a pure showcase of emotions, and maybe my favorite Testament ballad since, well, the ballad, or at least the legacy. Overall, while definitely on the heavier end of things, this is a great showcase of everything that the band has been doing for 40 plus years now, and doubling down on being my favorite thrash band of the original era. Testament has always been one of those bands for me, and for good reason. This album shows that the fire of the band still shines, and it will for a long, long time. Here we have Ültra Raptör with Fossilized. Sometimes you just want a super fun speed metal and heavy metal album made by a band that knows exactly who they are and what they're trying to achieve. That's exactly what you get with the sophomore album from the speed metal band based out of Quebec. This is pure 80s flair in the best of ways, and they are not shy about it. Everything from the pure adrenaline, the maxed out speed, to the mid-tempo headbangers, and of course that incredible vocal range, to the outstanding and memorable guitar solos are here, and they just hit you more and more as you listen to it. It's everything that makes you remember why speed metal and heavy metal rules. 10 songs, almost 41 minutes, and pure, unadulterated fun. For any fan of Exciter, Skullfist, Rage, and Early Day Running Wild, this band is a must-hear. Check them out before you get fossilized. Sorry, I needed to do something cheesy here, so now I'll take a bow and move on. And now we have Warrant with the speed of metal. And no, not that Warrant. This is the German band Warrant, and you know, it's kind of obvious why not as many people have heard of them compared to the American band. Why? Well, this is the band's third album in 40 years, so yeah, that'll tend to do it. All that said, it is awesome to hear what this legendary band is doing again, and I'm glad that they're back and putting out some of the best speed metal of 2025. While this album does get cheesy, I mean, just look at the title. It's my type of cheese, and I can't get enough of it. And as I keep spinning this one, it gets more and more fun every time that I listen to it. The production is authentic and clear, which is always preferred, and the songwriting is pure 80s, but updated just enough for 2025. It's just everything you want as far as speed metal. If you have missed this band, but you enjoy the likes of Rage, Riot, and Gravedigger's early work, you need Warrant, and I would say it's warranted. Sorry for the pun, I promise that's the last one this week. And now for all the music that I missed along the way, starting with a band name that's either pronounced Brévine or Brévine, with an album title that I know I'm not going to get right. Lhotse, Lhotse. The debut album from the Swiss post-metal band comes off a recommendation from my social media, and I am so happy that I came across it. There have been some great post-metal albums this year, but this one is truly something else. This band has this pure talent of mixing my favorite sounds from the Ocean, Cult of Luna, and Isa to create a band with 4 tracks, almost 41.5 minutes of dark, heavy, and devastating music that has substance, heart, and I dare say triumphant moments all throughout this album. The production couldn't be any better for the style, and songwriting, while grandiose, doesn't lose itself in the process, and it's still very accessible. It only gets better with every listen, and when you discover something new every time, like you do on this album, it's a great time. This is a post-metal album that makes you appreciate what works in the genre first, while still giving you a brand new spin on the genre that it needs. This thing rules, and if you love the genre, but you want it bigger and grandiose, you need to check out what this band is all about. Here we have Ceremony with Solitary Bleed. This is sadly an album I've been waiting to get to on here since June, but I'm finally getting to it now, but it's not for a lack of trying. It's just the sheer volume of albums that I cover week after week, and some fall through the cracks. But I'm so happy I was able to keep this one, as it is a killer display of how to make a death metal album with orchestration, but not make the orchestration the whole identity. It's done in the right spots and only heightens the dynamics and the intensity of everything surrounding it. It's a death metal album first and foremost, but it's almost more than that. The production is slick and polished, especially for an album of this style, and the songwriting is so brutal with its heaviest moments, and it's haunting with its orchestration. If you enjoyed the latest album from Wrath of Belial, you should be in love with this one, but just add in a little sprinkle of Flesh God Apocalypse and Dimmu Borgir for good measure. This is a band that may take its sweet time making a new album. This is the Dutch band's 3rd album in 32 years after all, but as they say, quality over quantity. Next up, we have Crucible with Hail to the Force. Keeping this one short and sweet, the debut album from this Danish band is what you need to get into speed metal for time and time again. While there's plenty of thrills, there are no frills, and you are left with 10 tracks, almost 37.5 minutes of classic speed metal. It has everything from the full guns blazing speed, the over-the-top guitar solos, and of course those soaring vocals, but it also has this devil-may-care attitude that makes the genre stand the test of time. You know what you're getting into with this one, but that's exactly why you listen to speed metal time and time again. For those who enjoy Speed Queen, Rising Steel, Star Force, and Hellstar, you need Crucible. Next up, we have Drenaï with Gods of Stone and Water. Sadly, this is another album that I've waited way too long to cover, as this also came out back in June, but hey, I'm finally getting to it now, and it deserves the recognition. The sophomore album from this French band combines the right elements of pagan metal, folk metal, and hints of power metal to create a unique sound that will intrigue you and entice you from beginning to end. It has everything you would expect from the folk metal side of things, but nowhere near the cheesiness that can happen from the genre. It has the pagan metal elements that mostly are associated with black metal, but it's done with more authenticity, and these hints of power that you wouldn't normally expect from this style of music, but it makes it that much more impactful. It's a quality blend of genres with a bit of a raw production style, but I think it works in their favor. If you want a band that knows how to mix bands like Helveti, Fintroll, and Rhapsody of Fire, check out Drenaï. Now we have a band name that's either Lychlake or Lychlake. I'm gonna go with Lychlake because it reminds me more of Witchlake. Could be wrong, but the album title is Witchcraft and Harrowed Souls. Now you see why I thought of it that way. I'm so happy to see more extreme symphonic metal albums coming out this year, and the sophomore album from this UK band is doing some magnificent work with the genre, combining everything that works in black, death, melodeath, and symphonic metal all rolled into one raw, bloodied, and unnerving album that hits the soul in the right ways and makes you want to listen to it time and time again. The production, as hinted at, is a little raw, but it's so effective and warranted. The songwriting is extravagant and lush, and it takes you on a journey with every single song, and the true selling point of the album. While this won't be for everyone, it is well worth taking a chance on, especially if you enjoy the likes of Crack Ingrid, Cradle of Filth, and Early Day Therion. This is magnificent work. And now for something completely different. This is The Midnight with Syndicate. Given my enjoyment of synthwave over the years, I am amazed I've never given this band a full listen until now. The 6th album from this Atlanta band is right up my alley when it comes to this style. It has the right combination of 80s influence mixed in with futuristic feels, a nice relaxing atmosphere compared to everything else I normally listen to, and these days, it's nice to put something on that can just put you at ease. No two songs sound the same despite the sound, which is an awesome thing to see. At a runtime of almost an hour and 25 minutes and 17 tracks, these may end up being a little too much for some people, but if you're someone like me who wants to put some music on to game to, space out to, or just put your mind into a better space, this is exactly what the doctor called for. I'd recommend this to anyone, no matter your typical style of music listening. You should be able to find something to appreciate here, and I'm glad that I finally gave The Midnight a proper listen. Now we have Monolyth with Seeds of Perseverance. This is such an interesting band. The 4th album from this French outfit covers so much ground from the classic melodeath sound to more mainstream metal, all while having dashes of power metal and thrash layered into the mix to create a sound that hits so many genres I love, but never sounding like a hodgepodge in the process. The production is a fine line between raw and clean that makes it feels like 2000s melodeath, and I do mean that in a good way. The vocals do get aggressive and harsh, but they never hit the extreme territory. They also get very clean, but it still fits very good in the context of the music and never sounds too poppy. If you want a band that reminds you of Scar Symmetry, In Flames, and mixed in with a little bit of Megadeth and even newer bands like Bent by Sorrow, you should love what Monolyth is all about. Now we have a band that I think is pronounced Mriodom with Vlies. Another band here with a genre that I'm discovering for the first time, Saxodoom. And if you're unsure of what that is, it is a combination of doom played with saxophone as a main instrument. Makes sense, right? Well, it is a very strange combination on paper, but upon hearing the album, it does start to make sense, and it gives stoner doom a new way of life that I didn't know that it could still have. It gives everything a unique sound in a way that only a saxophone can do. The music behind it all is wonderful as well, and with it being so much in the stoner doom variety, it does have a lot of great variety. It's not just 2 riffs repeated for an hour and a half, there's so much more substance and nuance going on to make this album work. Mix that in with a production style that allows everyone to shine, and you have one of the best stoner doom albums of 2025, and easily the Saxodoom album of 2025. If you enjoy the likes of Windhand, Droom, and King Witch, you should definitely dig what Mriodom is all about. Here we have a name that I really hope I get right, and I deeply apologize if I get it wrong. Vanessa Funke, or Funke, with Requiem. Just when I think Doom can't get any more exciting in 2025, I come across an album like this, and it gets me excited all over again. The 4th album in 3 years from this one-woman project sees a shift in sound from a more melodeath style to funeral doom and atmospheric black metal, but it still keeps that gothic sensibility it always had, and it hits so close to home for me. Every song feels depressingly relatable, and it sucker punches you time and time again. The production is raw, but in this style, it almost has to be. The songwriting is dreadful in the best ways possible and feels so appropriate for the end of the year. This is the kind of album that takes the raw and extreme ends of life and makes them fit in a way that will rip your soul apart, and I wouldn't want it any other way. If you want a mix of gothic metal, funeral doom, and atmospheric black metal, you'll be hard-pressed to find a more earnest approach in 2025 than you will with Requiem. And finally today we have Wounds of Recollection with I Found the Love I Was Looking For. 11 albums into this one-man band's career, and it is some of the most emotionally wrecking music that is a must listen. It's also from the creator of I Slept on the Moon, which I reviewed last year, and it's so good. This band perfectly matches post-black and post-rock combined to create a cinematic, dark, haunting, and heart-wrenching album that only gets better on repeat listens. While the production is a tad raw, it's not enough to ruin the experience. It sounds like 2000s post-black with just enough twists and turns to make the music exciting and devastating. The album is filled with the emotions of life, death, existentialism, coming of age, and nostalgic pains that almost anyone can relate to, and that really helps make the music work. It evokes so much memories of the past, both good and bad, and it makes you wonder what could have been, all while trying to figure out what's next. Musically, it feels like middle-era Death Heaven mixed with latter-day Lantlos, and even explosions in the sky. This definitely won't be for everyone, but if you enjoy post-music of any kind, you're going to find something to appreciate about Wounds of Recollection. It's a heartbreaker in the best kind of way. And there you go, folks, another 20 albums down and 880 albums that I've covered in 2025 so far. So what'd you think? Did I cover some good stuff? Did I cover some bad stuff? Anything that you're going to check out? Anything you're going to steer clear of? Anything that I might have missed? Please let me know down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And make sure to come back next week as we outdo Out Today and What I Missed for October 17th, 2025. And until then, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Runquist saying, embrace the skullet.